Welcome to another video.
Today we're looking at the Denon UDR-200, which is a neat little horizontal loading cassette deck from the early 90s that loads much like an optical drive on your computer.
Wait a second. Haven't we done this before?
Well, it should sound familiar because last month we took a look at this, the Denon DRR-M7. And so we spent a lot of time getting that working again.
Your problems are all behind you now.
So with this month's YouTube ad revenue, we decided to try a second Denon mini deck. This one has a lot more features. Look, we've got a display, we've got a record level control and meters. It says 2-motor mechanism, and the strange thing, this one is 8 years older. So the question we want to answer in this video is, by going back in time a few years, where cassettes were more prevalent,
Back to the future!
Well, sort of. Do we get a better quality built machine? But before I was able to answer that question, we have to get this thing working. And although this UDR-200 was listed as working and was very affordable, for a reason I'll get to in a minute, on eBay, to paraphrase Forrest Gump, eBay is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. Unfortunately, none of the buttons did anything. It did spin the motor every once in a while, but it would not play a tape. As it turns out, there were two internal pieces that had become dislodged, probably during shipping. One problem is this tiny circuit board, which has a sensor that detects whether the tape is moving. It works by detecting alternating light and dark panels printed on the bottom of the take-up reel. The other problem was this solenoid, which has a metal pin that had fallen out. The pin is supposed to pull a lever, which causes the cassette mechanism to cycle through its various modes. Needless to say, the deck is completely useless without both of these pieces, and unfortunately they were held in place by these tiny pieces of plastic, which had broken off. In the process
Why does it look like a straw?
A straw? Well, I guess it's, you know those coils from that phone? It's like pulling that metal back. It's an electromagnet. Anyway, in the process of disassembling and getting these back into place, the coils wires came loose. I had to solder those back on as well. So
coils?
Yeah, it's like a magnetic coil.
Why is there coils in this?
Because it's pulling that thing back and forth.
I thought they do electronic.
This is electronics.
It up.
After some trial and error on positioning that sensor board, I was able to push all the parts back into place and get it working again. Which brings us back to the initial question. Was the older deck built with better quality than the new one? Let's take a look. Even though they are both plastic, the older reels have metal pins at the top, and of course they lasted longer, and they have these gears, so I'd say those are better. That's the older one. And look at these flywheels. We've got two belts, large metal flywheels, and two motors, one for the capstan and one for the reel motor. It's really just a better quality mechanism. When you look at the newer deck, it's just got cheap plastic flywheels and one belt, so there's no contest here. And looking at the trays, the newer one actually has a single plastic piece, where the older one has a thicker tray with two pieces of plastic and these little rubber stands. So I'd say the answer to my question is yes, the older one is a better quality built mechanism. Just because I guess cassettes were more in use at the time.
What about the right one?
The right one is from 1998, I think.
Does it work?
Yeah, they both sort of work, although they've both been sort of beat up. There is one deficiency, however, on the older one, the fact that it uses a proprietary connector. It doesn't use the standard RCA jacks. The original idea for this video was to buy a working deck. That's also why it was so affordable. And then I was going to use this video to show how you could add some standard RCA connectors on the back. However, when I got the deck, it turned out that after posting the listing on eBay, the seller had already done it, or attempted to, so he didn't plan those holes out very well. So those two jacks on the back are actually line out. So I just need to figure out which pins on the system connector at the bottom are line in. We can do this by using these little Raspberry Pi jumper cables. I can use the old trick of touching the pin on an RCA cable, which causes a buzz, and very easily adding, detecting which is the left and right channel. So anyway, with all that in place, we'll end this video with our usual audio sample, and I think my days of ordering Denon mini cassette decks from eBay are over. So see you next time.
I think you should see you next time for another video. It might be an IKEA record player.
No, we're not buying an IKEA record player.